With a few shopping days left before Christmas, I spoke with Edmonton Mayor Don Iveson about a couple of the people he thinks should be on the naughty list and the nice. So first off, in Calgary, little Jim Prentice. Do you think this year he's sort of, which side of that list do you think he should be following on?
He's been nice. He's been good to work with. He's delivered on the commitments around moving ahead with the city charter, and I think he understands how important a successful Edmonton and Calgary are to supporting the continued prosperity of the whole province. And I think he gets that, gone are the days of Edmonton playing second fiddle to Calgary. You need to have two great, different and complementary cities in order for Alberta to really perform. And
all right.
He's been nice.
Probably a good thing anyway. We don't want to flood the market with coal right now. Next on the list is little Lorna Rosen.
Oh, very naughty because she's leaving us. But notwithstanding that, right up until we heard that she's leaving to the province, she's been a phenomenal chief financial officer for the city of Edmonton. And unfortunately, it's not as visible to Edmontonians, the amount of work that our city staff do, particularly in our budget and finance areas, to scrub the budget, look for efficiencies, look for innovative approaches to things. And we finally counted this year, and there was over $25 million worth of cost avoidances and efficiencies across the organization, including the police and libraries, that Lorna was instrumental in securing. And so she did a great job right up until she said she's going to the province. That said, she's going to be a phenomenal asset at the province, and we wish her the best.
Next one's pretty easy, Edmonton Public Library.
Edmonton Public Library can basically do no wrong. I mean, they're definitely nice. I mean, they're the library of the year. It's basically, the Oscars or the Nobel Prize for libraries. And, I think this city council has, at a time when other councils in other parts of the country during the recession really cut their libraries, we held the line with our libraries. We didn't invest a lot more in their growth or expansion, but we maintained our investment, and during that time, EPL continued to innovate, continued to stretch those dollars further and further, and then as the city grew, we were able to give them some growth libraries as well. And you see a beautiful new facility at the Meadows, which is going to support learning and literacy and personal development and sense of community for people in Southeast Edmonton there, the same way it has at the other 18 branches that came before it. So no, I remain a huge fan of EPL.
Next, Chief Rod Connect.
Chief Rod Connect. Oh, the Chief's been good.
Yeah.
Chief's been good. It's some other people around him, maybe have said some things, but no, the Chief is solid. He does a great job, and he's working on some of the things that councils ask for. I mean, they're dealing with growth pressures the same way that we are, and we were able to meet those growth pressures with 62 more officers this year. So it may have come across that we, hadn't hired anybody, but we did hire 62. We weren't able to give them everyone they were looking for this year, but hats off to the Chief, because what he's working on right now are strategies to use those resources more effectively. They found $5.5 million worth of efficiencies in their own budget this year, which I thank them for. And then he's looking at prevention strategies, looking at a wellness centers so that people who are in the inner city can, rather than being criminalized for their homelessness and their addictions and their mental health, can get services differently. So the Chief's got an eye on prevention as well, and that's why he's just the kind of big thinker that we need in the role.
Next one, approach cautiously, little Miss Sarah Chan. Obviously, with you working quite a bit.
Well, I can't say she's naughty. That would be inappropriate. So she's the best. I wouldn't be able to do this without an extremely supportive partner, and especially since we have young kids. But what's important is it's not like she's at home with the kids all the time. I mean, we rely on a massive network of friends, family, and babysitters to enable her to be out and making phenomenal contributions in the community with the United Way, with the arts, with causes that are relevant to women and to kids and to learning and literacy and creativity. Those are some of the themes that are really important for us. And so I'm really proud of the way that she's that she's used the opportunity of her role to provide leadership in the community as well. And you know, we're still married, which is pretty good considering the amount of stress that we've gone through. But we've got 3 campaigns behind us now, so we're getting better at this. But no, she's delightful, and I'll always be grateful to her for her support.
Finally, little Don Iveson, how do you think his year has gone?
I think it's gone reasonably well. I think you know, overall we've accomplished a lot of the things that I set out to do in the campaign. You know, whether it's establishing my task force on poverty elimination, which has grown into a wonderful network of people from business, from faith communities, and from the traditional sort of not-for-profit sector, and experts from our post-secondary institutions. A great network now of close to 200 people who are working away on this effort, and we'll look forward to their report next year. So I mean, that was one that's really about ensuring that eventually all Edmontonians are included in the prosperity that most of us feel here. So I'm pleased with how that's come together, and the great support that council's had unanimously supporting this work, and themselves participating actively in it as well, a number of them. I think you know, being able to deliver on continued expansion of the LRT, as we've talked about, you know, I'm very pleased with how that came together, and that's an example of you know, where we had the business community, we had the community at large, we had the councillors, we had everybody saying this is our priority for Edmonton right now. And when Edmonton speaks with one voice, we even had partners in the region saying this for us. When Edmonton and our region speaks with one voice, we can finally get the due that the 1.2, 1.3 million of us deserve here. And so that was an example of that kind of collaboration. You know, we're mending fences in the region too, which I promised to work on. It's going to be a continued focus next year. But a lot of the relationship building we've done this year has been very positive for that. Likewise with our Indigenous communities here in the city, and then in the surrounding Treaty 6 and Treaty 8 First Nations, we've developed good relations there, which is part of a long journey of rapprochement and then shared prosperity that we can generate by working together through honoring the history and focusing as well on the future and youth. And so the Year of Reconciliation has actually been much more moving and significant for me than I could have ever imagined when it started. And I guess, you know, fundamentally I've rediscovered what my own limits of patience and energy and time and focus are, because this has been, you know, I knew it was going to be fully engaging, but it's you know, it's great to have this job. But it's really stretching me as a person too. So I'm growing with the role, which is good.
For the Edmonton Sun, I'm Dave Lazarino.